and I'm here because I don't want to go back there.
Hi, Ellen. Nice to meet you. I'm Kodavai. And where is it that you don't want to go back to?
I don't want to go back to the place where my creativity stopped flowing. Whether it's a job or an interview or a project, I choose not to go back to anything that's stunting my creativity.
Who says you have to go back there again? And why don't we find a new place for you? This place could be whatever you want and be wherever you want to go that's creative. I think eventually we'll discover what made you leave in the first place. Hmm?
I'm thinking, that sounds good. How do I begin?
Well, we'll begin with an exercise creating what we in art therapy call an emotion wheel. The emotion wheel helps people begin the process of confronting feelings of sadness or bitterness. So let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about creative flow. What immediately comes to mind when you think of the word flow? You know, um, flow.
Well, that's easy. My first memory of flowing was when I was younger. I used to dance and dance and dance in the grass. I absolutely love feeling the wind blowing between my fingers and all through my hair. Oh, my hands were curious about the breeze. I reached out and boy, the breeze, it was right there, but it slipped through my hands. So I tried again. I moved my hands to a different place and then my arms followed in the movement.
Ellen, what you described reminds me of a butterfly flowing in meadows.
That was me. Can you see it? How the butterfly perches in the grassy meadow on a nice warm day. Its wing blows without effort. That's being in the flow.
Yes, I actually can. That's an expression of effortlessness. It's a beautiful sight. Hmm. Very peaceful, relaxing. Just talking about it makes me feel light and free.
Light and free? Now that was me. I'll admit it, I have my light and free moments, but back then I was in a zone.
This is good, Ellen. Are there specific colors which best reflect the meadows?
Well, there's the green grass. Now I love white or off white because it reminds me of just being light and in the wind. And I love blue or orange butterflies.
Well, blue and orange are complementary colors, so there's definitely balance there. Ellen, this realization sounds so beautiful. Being in that space seems so right for you, for anyone, whether you could dance or not. The conditions are right, everything is perfect. Believe me, I totally get it, but you're not there. Instead, you visit the place you used to live in. What changed? When did you notice something different? How could I help you through the process of discovering?
I know what changed. I failed to barter for what I wanted, what I needed for myself. Somehow I thought showing up was enough and the rest would take care of itself. I'm gracious, and so I thought if I asked, I'll just show up in the middle of the war thinking that, hey, I'm peaceful. They need me, so I come in peace. And then everyone would stop fighting, right? In the war. Ellen the peace is here, right? The joke was on me. I left and they're still fighting.
That's it. No other strategies but you showing up as firefighter, paramedic, police officer, surgeon, nurse practitioner. Oh, yeah, and don't forget therapist in the midst of what sounds like a mess. Have no fear. Doctor, officer, general practitioner, firefighter, paramedic, therapist is here.
You got it. I showed up out in the midst of the blazing fire, burning for who knows how long. I had so much confidence in my personal peace that I didn't even bother to find out how these fires started, you know? The basic questionnaire, like, are we starting to grill the barbecue or did someone just detonate a bomb? There's a big difference. I just saw the fire and arrived in peace. No judging, right? Yeah. I asked no questions.
So how are you now?
Fine, I'm good.
How were you
When?
before today? Before. What exactly happened?
Do you know what day it is?
Yes, I do. Do you know what day it is?
No, I don't keep track of the days anymore. They just run together. But I know what day it was. January 10th, 2010. That's when my life changed.
For the better?
Better?
Describe better for me.
Better would be a stiff drink. A drink enhances the mental fog. Keeps me misty.
Missy, what's clear to you?
Nothing is clear in the mist. I can't clear up your misty experience, and you certainly can't clear up mine. To me, it looks like little specks of rain magnetically coming together on a window wet with dew. There's no real size in each of the droplets, but when you get out there, no, when you get out there, someday, I could spray a bottle of mist on your face, and each drop will land differently. Some of the mist feels like nothing at all. I mean, I can describe it to you, but my description and your experience is two different things in the mist. Nothing is clear in the mist. I can't clear up your misty experience, and you certainly can't clear up the mist that I walk through.
I noticed a lot of brown and small dots in your picture. Is that the mist you walked through?
I don't know how I got through it, honestly.
What exactly?
The density of the fog surrounding my thoughts during that time.
During traumatic events, some people do the best they can to keep going.
How I got through is a mystery on Fantasy Island. I don't know, did I dance through this mess or what? I have brain fog right now.
Okay, you're speaking in code. Please explain to me what you got into.
I let the words of a hater get in and take root. Sorry about the metaphors. I said fantasy because during that time, I wanted to be accepted so badly that I take on almost any form I could in the community. The fantasy of being a fixer, a bridge builder, a shot caller, a solution maker was so powerful.
Was this the organization you worked in before coming here?
Yes, I took on the community liaison position. No one wanted that job, but JD offered. JD was a sweetheart. Everyone loved him and would do just about anything for him, except that job.
Ellen.
Oh, hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Please have a seat.
Yes, thank you.
I've noticed, some of your work around the company, and I'm interested in developing a community arts development liaison.
I'll do it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, when I volunteered to take the job, I became JD's superhero. It's like I was doing him a favor. You know, you're my favorite boss. I'd love to do anything for you, anything you need.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Well, you may run into a little resistance.
As a result, I had his full support and backing on everything we planned.
Now when you're doing this, that you have my full backing. I'm gonna trust you.
It was powerful. I was powerful. I became JD's superhero.
That was good, right?
At first, it was good. Then, in no time, it was great. We made a lot of progress. Everything we planned happened, and everything I suggested became gold. Literally. The better we did in the community, the more the people in the community wanted to do.
I'm sure.
Well, little by little, we began being scrutinized for minor things. And I admit in frustration, I let some folks have it. But over time, I could feel the resentment. Although our numbers remained consistent, some community members just wanted their efforts to be seen. They moved from being the willing volunteer to help to becoming the I want everyone to know it's all about me crowd. A few petitioned JD to get me out of the community liaison position. The environment became so political, and cliques began to form out of nowhere, vying for influence in the community. Their desires to gain influence was selfish, of course. JD assigned an associate to keep the peace and oversee some of our efforts. He had this person report to me.
Wow. I bet that was a bit unnerving.
I think the associate realized this was a political move. He was much older, busy with other pursuits. He had no interest in this position. Once we received international recognition and awards from major arts competition, internal pressure became even more intense. I shared some of the challenges I faced with someone I thought was a friend. The conversation did not go well.
What did he say?
He said, "Ellen, you're a terrible person, and you know you're a terrible person." Those words took root. I remember just feeling terrible all of a sudden.
I'm sure you reacted. You described what happened on the inside. What was the experience like on the outside?
Well, role play basically. I eventually created a role that aligned with how I felt. So I scripted a topic theme for our next community meeting. Then I spoke. In the speech, I apologized for being a terrible person to a large crowd of people, most of whom didn't even know me or anything about me.
So, you chose to reject yourself as a solution. I mean, you apologized like to everyone, even people you didn't know. For what? Because someone said you're a terrible person? Ugh. You know, it's too late to apologize when you're already on stage, right? Do you get the comedy in that?
Well, that's not the funny part. The technology department couldn't figure out why the company's stream connection, which was broken for several months, worked at the time that I made the speech. So the apology was...
Don't tell me. Live streamed across the world. Wait, you guys were just recognized for an international award, right? Did JD or anyone know that you were going to?
No, they had no clue. They were just as shocked.
How many people roughly were online or connected during the speech?
Well, when the connection was live, about 600 cell phone users instantly connected. We generally have about 8,000 people who may chime in after they receive notification of a broadcast via email, but the IT department was able to cut the automatic email out of the broadcast, but not the cell phone downloads afterwards. So let's say about 1,200 more viewers saw the broadcast later.
Ellen, about 1,800 people saw this? That's not so funny anymore.
The constituents and regular viewers were much more kind than the community. No one understood how someone like me could make that decision. At that moment, I chose to embody my environment. Then I apologized for my role in being part of it. The truth is, there was no need for me to do any of that. It certainly didn't fix anything. I went into isolation in plain sight. Some people in the community thought that I rejected them.
It's clear you've not gotten over this. And how did you know what they were thinking? Did they tell you?
Well, I just figured.
No, Ellen. Is it possible that figuring is what got you to this point? I know this is difficult, but how do you feel?
Well, I felt like a human doing, functioning. I wasn't living. I thought somehow that I could fix the issues that I did not cause. You know, I come in peace, right?
So what did you do?
What did I do? Well, after all the unrest, JD called a meeting of reckoning with the community. I took the responsibility for my role in the cause of the people being upset or disappointed. Now, that was the right thing, but I also apologized for all their issues within the community.
I can only imagine. But what on earth caused you to think that you were that terrible to need to apologize? I don't know. Apologize for what? Just being wonderful, influential, you?
Being the scapegoat goes back for generations in my family. For decades, my parents and their grandparents were known in their communities for something either really good or really bad. When good things started happening to the people in my immediate circle, haters planted bad seeds with hope something would take root. Maybe I just fell into it.
Ellen, there's more to this than what you're saying. As your program mentor, I think it's safe to say that it's time to stop falling into it and for it. Do you think you're a little gullible?
I've been told that, so I guess.
You guess? No. If this is the case, you need to cease this behavior. Like now, today. If you take responsibility for anything, it needs to be for your thoughts and feelings about you. You can't help people who are not willing to change, and you can't resolve other people's issues. Now, this is not a downer, and I know things are better from day to day, so I commend you because you've done a lot of work. You're definitely on the road to wholeness. The people you help appropriately in this field will appreciate someone like you who went through a few challenges successfully. Okay, with a few bumps and bruises. Most people who go through this sort of ordeal are not at the place where they can even talk about it. Still, we have some work to do.
I'm relieved, somewhat. But back then, I thought I could just fix everything by saying sorry. What I ended up doing is making myself lower. I went from feeling regarded and honored and liked to the feeling of just being a useless doormat. What's worse is I felt like I deserved to be walked on.
You didn't just begin feeling that way. This has been going on for a minute. When did this start? When is your first memory of passing up what you wanted for
A lollipop.
come again?
My cousin Fred always wanted the lollipop I had when we were younger. I chose the color I thought he hated, green. I really liked the purple, the grape flavor. But Fred always found a way to get my lollipop. Sometimes he tried tickling me to annoyance. Oftentimes he bullied me, and my parents felt sorry for him. So instead of choosing the one I really wanted, I just
Selected the one he hated, thinking.
that I'd still have a lollipop in the end because he'd swap like the kids do at school when they didn't want their peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It never worked.
No.
Nope. It took me several years and my mom's help to finally discover the truth.
Which was?
All my cousin ever wanted was anything that I received or earned.
Oh. Why is that, and how does your mom fit in?
Well, just recently my mom told me, your cousin Fred wants to be you. But Fred can't be like you. I was shocked to hear this. I asked her, how did you know? She said, Fred always wanted to be like you. He was male and felt entitled to everything he wanted.
Whoa.
I was too naive to believe that people often want the lives and opportunities which are not afforded to them. So while I worked and sweat like a Hebrew slave for the community, there was a group of naysayers who wanted the influence that I earned.
Well, that's not uncommon. People may become influenced by what they see. So, if we look at it from a different perspective, your projects went well. You gained support, and I imagine a lot of influence as well as funding. In fact, you were admired, right?
I was admired and hated.
Hated? Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure, unfortunately. Okay, perhaps it wasn't me that was hated. I was told by a smart person once, watch those compliments. Some of them come from haters who wish they were in your shoes. Even if they're too tight, they just don't want you wearing them.
But how much does that matter? What they want? To the point that you end up with.
No lollipop at all. I'm learning now to invade my own space now that I have so much of it.
Now, there's a thought. How are you doing that exactly?
Well, an invasion to me looks like filling an empty vase on the table with fresh flowers for me. Or another example of an invasion is when I turn off my phone, sit still, and just replenish my mind. Before I was a first responder, what did you call it? Oh, yes. Have no fear, Dr. Officer General, practitioner, firefighter, paramedic, therapist is here. Yeah.
Woo! I think this is a good stopping point for now. We got a lot accomplished today. Remember, I began with mentioning the emotional color wheel. I know it seems like we didn't touch on the subject again, but let me share what I got out of today's conversation. You mentioned the color white when you were dancing. White represents something that's cool and clean. You were dancing in the grass, and the color of grass is green, and green can represent growth and happiness and calm. It could also represent somebody that is nurturing. So perhaps when you were in the flow environment, you feel fresh, clean, inspiration, and it's nurturing to you. You feel replenished. You also mentioned the color of two butterflies that are favorites of yours, the orange butterfly and the blue butterfly. Well, orange is a standout color, but it's also fiery and full of energy, and it's an active color. On the other hand, blue is a complement of orange, and it represents depth, calm, vast like the sky, or deep like the ocean. Plus, it's a relaxing color. Some people think of blue as friendly and positive. Consequently, water, while clear, is life sustaining, but describes in terms of the sky's reflection, which is blue. A person and their role in life may be considered like water, people you can't live without. I think I noticed brown somewhere on your paper. Brown represents the earth, and it's also the color of leather. When you think of earth and of leather, hard work at the root. So the color brown could be representative of hard work. We did not speak specifically about emotional color wheel, but by listening to your conversation, I have a better understanding of the colors that describe you and the emotional meaning behind some of it. Do you see this?
Oh my goodness, I never looked at it that way. This is so profound, and one of the main reasons why I wanted to enter a program like this. I wanted to see life through the arts. I'm really excited about what you've mentioned so far and so eager to learn more.
That's great news, Ellen. During our next session, we may touch on shapes and what shapes represent and combine some of our shapes with colors, whether in dialogue or actually through drawing. My goal is to help you identify some of the emotions and the colors and shapes reflected through them. You do the same with your clients once you're finished with this program.
I can't wait.